in the depths of the ocean. No one hears screams, only echoes. Darkness fills the screen. There's no horizon, no light, no sense of movement, only an endless, black-blue void. Then, a single sonar ping cuts through the silence, echoing across the water. It travels outward, invisible yet powerful, touching everything in its path before slowly returning. During World War II, this simple, cold, mechanical sound became one of the most decisive weapons in the American arsenal, not because it could destroy cities or armies in plain sight, but because it ruled a battlefield no one could see. When the United States entered the war in 1941, the global conflict was already raging. Europe was engulfed in flames, and the Atlantic Ocean had become a vast, unforgiving graveyard. Merchant ships vanished beneath the waves with terrifying regularity, hunted by German U-boats that moved like predators through the deep for the United States. This was an existential threat. America's immense industrial power depended entirely on the ocean. Every tank, every plane, every ration of food had to cross thousands of miles of open water. Without control of the sea, America could not fight hand, could not win. At first, the nation was unprepared. German submarines prowled dangerously close to the American coastline, sinking ships silhouetted against the bright lights of coastal cities. Fires burned on the horizon at night, visible reminders that the war had arrived at America's doorstep. The enemy was unseen, unheard by most, yet devastatingly effective. It became clear that traditional naval power was not enough. Battleships and firepower meant little against an enemy that refused to be seen. To survive, the United States had to fight a different kind of war, one based on detection, patience, and sound. A new battlefield emerged beneath the waves, and with it, a new kind of soldier. On board American escort vessels, sonar operators took their positions in small, dimly lit compartments. Many were young, barely out of training, tasked with an enormous responsibility. They listened. For hours at a time, they strained to interpret the ocean's endless noise waves, marine life, distant ships searching for a faint, unnatural echo that might signal a submerged submarine. For them, war was no longer visual. It was auditory. Victory depended on recognizing a sound that did not belong. The sonar itself was deceptively simple in concept. A pulse of sound was sent into the water, traveling until it struck something solid and reflected back. But in practice, interpreting those echoes required skill, experience, and nerves of steel. False contacts were common. A school of fish, a temperature layer, or even underwater terrain could mimic a submarine's signature. Every decision carried immense weight. Call a false contact, and resources were wasted. Miss a real one, and an entire convoy could be lost. What truly set the United States apart was its ability to turn technology into a system. American industry refined sonar equipment rapidly, making it more accurate and reliable. Shipyards produced escort vessels in astonishing numbers, replacing losses faster than the enemy could inflict them. Training programs expanded, turning inexperienced recruits into skilled sonar operators in record time. Most importantly, lessons learned in combat were quickly analyzed, shared, and applied across the entire fleet. The United States did not just adapt, evolved. As American escort groups grew more effective, the balance of power beneath the ocean began to shift. Convoys that once sailed in fear now moved under a protective acoustic shield. When a sonar contact was confirmed, destroyers reacted with practiced precision. They altered course, tracked the invisible target through sound alone, and released depth charges into the sea. Below the surface, these explosions were catastrophic. The water itself became a weapon, transmitting shockwaves that crushed equipment, ruptured hulls, and shattered morale. For the crews inside the submarines, each blast felt like the ocean was closing in on them, a terrifying, percussive death knell. The psychological dimension of this underwater war cannot be overstated. Submarine crews learned to sit motionless for hours, even days, engines off, lights dimmed, afraid that the smallest sound could betray their position. Meanwhile, American sonar operators continued their relentless search, ping after ping, listening for any sign of life below. Silence, once the submarine's greatest strength, became a fragile defense that could collapse at any moment. American influence in undersea warfare extended far beyond the Atlantic. In the Pacific theater, U.S. submarines took on a different but equally critical role. Rather than defending convoys, they went on the offensive, systematically dismantling Japan's supply network. Oil tankers, troop transports, and cargo ships were sunk in staggering numbers. Sonar and acoustic awareness were vital for both attack and survival, allowing American submarines to evade escorts and strike with deadly efficiency. By the war's end, Japan's ability to sustain its war effort had been crippled from beneath the waves. As the war progressed, the results of American dominance in sonar technology and naval coordination became undeniable. Losses in the Atlantic dropped dramatically. Supplies flowed steadily to Europe. Troops and equipment arrived in quantities never before seen in history. Massive operations like the Normandy landings depended entirely on secure sea lanes. Without the silent victories won beneath the ocean, these turning points of the war would have been impossible. When peace finally came, the underwater war faded quickly from public memory. There were no iconic photographs, no dramatic footage of the battles fought in darkness. Sonar operators returned home without fanfare. Escort ships were scrapped or reassigned. Yet the impact of their work was immense. The United States had transformed sound into a weapon, silence into a battlefield, and the ocean into a controlled domain. The water is calm now, almost indifferent, concealing the countless wrecks and untold stories resting below. One final sonar ping echoes softly and disappears into the depths. The war is over, but the echoes remain. Because in the depths of the ocean, the American victory was never seen. It was heard. Thank you for watching. If you found this hidden history fascinating, be sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more stories that have been lost to time. We'll see you in the next one.